Neudeck, and she's going to be talking about the pressures of physical appearance. So, yeah, Alex!
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm just going to say thanks for all of you for coming here, because if you didn't, then we wouldn't be able to do this, and that's really important for us. Okay. I'm talking about the fact that for the past 8 years of my life, I've struggled with anorexia. And why this is important is because it has the highest death rate of all psychiatric diseases, and there aren't a lot of people that can go through it and recover as well as you should be able to. So a lot of things do get affected, and it affects your mind and your body and everything, and it's stuck with you for the rest of your life. I say that I struggled with anorexia because that's from the most of what I had to deal with. It's for the most extended period of time, restricting what I ate was what I relied on. However, I did have stints when I would be binging or doing the exercising thing far more than I was putting food in my body to suffice for it. And that's why labeling these are so hard for a lot of people, because so many of them overlap. Because if you're doing one thing to lose weight and it stops working, you're going to do something else, because this is just what you want. Because losing weight is something that just consumes everything about you. And I really want to raise awareness, because the biggest thing for me is that I see that a lot of other problems get a lot of awareness, and there's a lot of people talking about it. And I don't feel like people talk about eating disorders as often as they should be, especially in our society when there's so much pressure on people to be thin, or just to do these things, to be like the models that aren't even realistic. And I want to eliminate the stigma, because a lot of people that I see here, I've seen outside on campus, and I want you guys to still feel the same way about me that you did when you walked in the door. Because this isn't something to be afraid of. This isn't something to make you think that you should treat me differently because I went through this, or because of other things. Because I've lost friends that didn't know how to handle it because it was something I was struggling with, and they felt that it was too much for them. Breaking it down to a timeline of before I got into what you would label as an eating disorder, while I was doing this, and then my struggle with recovering. One thing I found out is that eating habits they're learned from your home. And my home life, yeah, we were taught about square meals, eating right and stuff, but we were also taught that if you wanted to restrict on a few meals, that was fine. Eating disorders, though very few people in my family that it's very obvious that they have struggled with that, they haven't gone and gotten treatment for it because it was something that they thought it wasn't a big deal. So going through my family and seeing all these people that struggle with this, it was hard for me to associate this as a bad thing when so many people that I was close to and related to were doing the same thing. So I was thinking this is normal. And I don't want to play a blame game, because for years and years of me dealing with this, it was always, this is my mom's fault, these are the kids at school's fault, this is my sister's fault, and it's not. It's none of theirs. It's something that I'm dealing with, it happened, it consumed me, and I had to fix that. I said for 8 years. So 8 years ago, I was 10. So I was in the 6th grade. And that was more or less when, I guess you could say I was chubby, but I was 10. I mean, really, that was my biggest thing, is that it was just, oh, whatever, it doesn't really bother me. I've been 5'5" since the 3rd grade. I guess I was an early bloomer. So I was like, whatever, all my friends are just little. That's just the way that they are. Until I was getting criticism at home for it. It was, Allie, you can't watch TV unless you work out for the same amount of time that you want to watch TV. Allie, the only reason that your ass is so big is because you're never off of it. So when all these things just kept being said to me over and over again, I started thinking, okay, what am I doing wrong? So in the beginning, I didn't know how to deal with it. I didn't know how to cope with how upset they would make me, and that was when I would start closet eating. No one's in the house, it's okay for me to sneak a little snack before dinner or after dinner, because that's the only way that can make me feel okay. And then when I was in 8th grade, I started restricting. And at first it was just a meal a week or so. And then I started to lose weight once I started more and more. And when I started to lose weight, that was when I started getting, Ellie, you look great. You look amazing. Like, we need to go out and get you more clothes because the clothes you're wearing are so big on you. And I got to the point when I lost about 50 pounds in less than 2 months because I would never eat. Or if I would, it'd be a bagel today and I just won't eat tomorrow and the next day. Or I would make sure I ate just enough so I wouldn't pass out in class. Because that has happened. And I never thought it was a problem. I never saw it as something that I needed to fix or that I needed to stop doing because I was getting so much feedback from it. People at school were starting to be nicer to me, guys were paying attention to me, so why would I stop something like this? It wasn't until my freshman year. I weighed just a little over 100 pounds, and a couple of my friends sat me down and said, look, this isn't right. Like, there has to be something wrong. And I spent hours saying, I'm fine, I know what you're talking about. There's nothing even for you guys to worry about. Like, why are you doing this? And it literally took hours for me to finally say, well, okay, this is what I've been doing, and this is why. And they said, you need to get help. And I said, I can't. I'm not ready for that. And they said, it doesn't matter. If you're not ready for this, you're going to die soon. So I agreed to meet with a health teacher the next class day. But after leaving that conversation, all I was thinking is, oh my God, I hope they forget. I hope they forget that we ever had this conversation. I hope they trust me enough to know that I'll go on my own, but I won't go because I don't want to stop doing what I'm doing. Wasn't so lucky because the next day at school, the friend that had talked to me met me after one of my classes and said, okay, I'm going to walk with you down to this teacher. I'm thinking, great. There's no way I'm going to be able to get out of this one. So I remember walking into that room and sitting down, and my friend left, and I was sitting there. The teacher looked at me and she goes, she was a health teacher. I had her for gym when I was in 7th grade. She looked at me and she goes, so what's the problem? And I was like, I don't know. And I sat there for maybe 5 minutes, just dead silent, and I just started bawling. It was all this stuff that I was trying to hide, that I wasn't telling people, that I wasn't able to keep inside anymore. And I let it all out. People say that admitting you have a problem is the first step in recovery, but I really don't agree with that because it took me 2 more years before I accepted the help that everyone was trying to give me. But back to that day, I told the teacher, I was like, I can't tell my mom that. I can't let her know that I'm doing this. She wouldn't understand. There's things in my family that just aren't talked about, and this having a problem is one of them. So she said, all right, and for a few weeks I would go in and I would talk to her when things were getting bad or when I felt like, I'm gonna go off the deep end. And finally she said, look, you really need to get help because as much as we can talk, I can't get you the help that you need. And I was like, okay, well, let's, whatever. So she's like, okay, I'm gonna make an appointment with the guidance counselor for you to go talk to her. And I said, fine. And the next day, when I had the appointment, I went to her room and I was like, look, I don't want to do it. I'm not ready for it. I can't come to terms and accept the help. Like, I just don't want to do it. And she's like, yeah, I figured you'd say that, so our appointment's now. And I'll walk you down there. So we went there, and I told the guidance counselor what was going on. She called my mom and told my mom what had happened. And then when I got home from school that day, my mom was just in tears, just crying. Like, why wouldn't you tell me this? Why didn't you say anything? I didn't know something was wrong. And I was looking, I was like, I didn't say anything because I didn't think it was a big deal. And we signed me up for an appointment with a therapist, a specialist. And I went once for an hour. And after that, I never went again. My parents never forced me. They never said, look, you need to keep going, you need to keep talking, you need to keep doing this. And I guess they just hope that, maybe if we don't make this into a big deal, it won't be. We can just brush it under the rug. It's just one little thing that happened. It's nothing. At the time, I took it as, they're not making a big deal out of it because it's not a big deal. So I kept doing it. Sophomore year, I lost a lot of good friends because of what I was doing. Because they were like, look, you need to fix this. We can't be here. We can't do this unless you get the help that you need. And I adamantly said, I don't know what you're talking about every time. I have no idea what you're talking about. And then it was at the point where I was hanging out with kids that I didn't like, that didn't even know me. Because all the friends that did know me, I pushed away. And I was absolutely miserable. But it didn't matter, because I was still losing weight. And I could come home, and my mom would look at me and say, you look great. I was a junior when I realized that this couldn't be going on. There wasn't any light bulb moment when I was just like, oh, this is really bad. It was just, I started thinking about everything that I had lost and whether or not it was worth it. And it wasn't. Because I started thinking about all the things that I had heard people say to me and all the things that I had been saying to myself. Like, you're not going to be happy unless you're thin. You can't eat that. You can't do this. And I finally realized that I was way more important than the number on the scale. And that I couldn't put my self-worth on there. So when I accepted it, I started talking. And I started opening up to my friends. And I was like, look, this is what I'm dealing with. I don't expect you to understand it, but I expect you to respect me and just try and be there for me. And I did. I had friends that just really understood and said, look, we're not going to support what you're doing, but we will always be there for you if you ever need anything. The hardest thing for me to say that I've conquered this, or that I had an eating disorder, because this is turning into a demon that I have to fight every day. And every day, I have to wake up and say, it's okay to not have to be perfect. It's okay to not want to be thin. It's okay to not be thin. Because beauty isn't about showing bones. And there are times when I catch myself thinking how much easier it would be if I could just go back to what I was doing before. Because sometimes it just gets so hard, and I think, I'm not proud of it, but I was really good at making people think that I was okay, and I did a really good job hiding what I was doing. And I realized how much of a liar I had become, and I was lying to myself every day, and it wasn't something I wanted to do. And that's when I realized that I could be so close to relapsing and going back to what I was doing. But I've come so far, and that it just wouldn't be worth it, because I've put so much hard work and effort into this. And not only would I be letting myself down, I'd be letting my friends down and everybody else that's supporting me throughout it. Ooh, I feel like a baby. But now what? Okay. I was lucky enough to realize how serious this is. I was lucky enough to be able to say, this isn't normal. And I hope to be able to talk about this so people that know someone that's struggling with this but brush it off saying, oh, that's just what they do. That's just normal. That's how they've always been. Because it's not normal. And it's not something that people should be doing. And my biggest thing is you can't be afraid to talk. If you're struggling with it like I did, or if you know someone who is, you can't be afraid to say, look, you need help. Because nobody wants to admit that they need help, And sometimes you might have to push someone in it or be pushed in it yourself, and it could really test your friendships. But looking at where I am now, if I hadn't been pushed when I was, I have no idea where I'd be. Because I was at the point where it took all my energy just to get out of bed in the morning. I would go to school, sleep through half my classes, come home just to sleep half my evening away. Because I didn't have the energy to stand. The biggest thing is, I know when I was at my lowest point, I felt like I didn't have anyone that I could turn to. I felt that no one would understand what I'd gone through, and that no one would be able to help. But now I know that's not true. And if you have any questions,